Guys, I have finally done it. Hyrule is now a 5-star island. It's alright, don't all clap at once, but this is an exciting day, alright? I've been working really hard to build this up to be a 5-star island, and today I want to put together a handy guide on how to build a 5-star island. Because, while yes, to a degree, the game kind of tells you what you need to do, honestly, it's so vague at times that sometimes it feels like you're kind of shooting in the dark. So today I want to kind of condense everything that I have learned building Hyrule up into being a 5-star village, try and give you guys the most comprehensive guide possible. So if you do enjoy this, if you find this useful, then a like would be super appreciated. If you have any questions, by all means let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know what stars you guys currently have on your villages. Maybe you've just hit 3 stars and got KK. Maybe you got 5 stars. Either way, let me know. But for those of you guys that want to start getting towards a 5-star village, then let's go through this checklist. Now, the first things first, when it comes to getting a 5-star village, you're going to need to make sure you have the maximum possible number of villagers, that is 10 in total. So you basically need to be at the point where Tom Nook will no longer let you bring people to the island. So if you go and look at my map right now, these are the 10 that I have. Admittedly, some of them I do want to swap out. Basically, I'm trying to recruit all the jocks, all the swole boys, so that I have like a muscle building island. But either way, that aside, you're going to need the maximum number of villagers. So get that, get all 10, and that is the first thing checked off the list. Second, you're going to need to make sure that you have all the shops on your village. So of course, you're going to need to have the clothes shop, the tailors. So of course, Abel is going to need to be on your village. You need to have the upgraded Nook shop. So of course, the fully upgraded one, the big shop, which sells more stuff. You're also going to need to have the museum. I mean, you would obviously have that by that point. But basically, you need to have all the shops on your village ready to go. Assuming you have that, that is the second thing checked off your list. Now, after that, once you've got those things in place, this is where the island designing stuff comes in, because ultimately, once you've got those first 2 things checked off, it is down to you to basically decorate your village. Flowers, trees, furniture, the lot. But there's a few kind of specific things you need to understand. Ultimately, when you're trying to get to 5 stars, the easiest way to work out how you're progressing is you go and speak to Isabel. She will then give you the island evaluation, she'll tell you what your current star rating is, and she'll then give you a somewhat vague idea as to what you should be doing. You know, she'll kind of read you that spiel, she'll translate it and say something like, the island could do with more flowers, the island could do with more trees, the island could do with more fences, and you then use that to effectively go and direct your attention at what needs to be done. However, there are a few very important things that I've learned throughout this process. And one of the most important things is distribution. Because while the specific nature of what you choose, the specific nature of furniture, flowers, trees, doesn't matter if you have all the same trees, doesn't matter if you have all the same flowers, doesn't matter if you craft 500 of the same furniture item, what is more important is how you distribute it around your island. It doesn't matter how you place it specifically, i.e. if you have a chair and put it next to a table, if the chair is facing the wrong way, that doesn't matter. But what does matter is evenly distributing it around your island. What I spent a long time doing is building out the first corner of my island, which was the corner that looks like a sort of Japanese town, and I spent so much time on that corner with so much furniture, so much decoration, but the rest of my island was pretty barren, and at that point it was still a 3-star village, because what you need to do is you need to try and break your village down and look at it in sections. If you bring up the map and you were to say divide up my village, I would divide it into sections like this. What you effectively need to do then is ensure that each of these quadrants, each of these sections, have sufficient furniture. Now, when it comes to specific numbers, we don't necessarily know the exact number, and it would be kind of cool if the game actually had like a physical, I don't know, checklist you could work towards, but it doesn't. But generally speaking, what you're looking for is the minimum number of trees, which your island would probably naturally have, but if you chopped a lot down, you may need to replant some. The minimum number of flowers. You're then going to need to have a distribution of furniture across DIY furniture, things you craft yourself, items you buy from the shop, and also items you buy from Nook Miles. To kind of give you some rough numbers, loosely you want to think about crafting say 60 to 70 DIY items, you want to think about getting around 20 Nook Miles items, and you want to think about buying say about 60 items from the shop. Again, those items can be anything. You can buy cheap items, you can buy anything. You can put a washing machine outside if you really want to. It doesn't matter what the item is specifically, but you want to hit those different quotas. And again, Isabel will inform you this. She'll say, hey, you can buy some things from the Nook shop using your miles. Sometimes she'll say, hey, go and check out the local shop and buy things. Or she might even say, hey, go and craft things with things you find around the island. But again, once you've got those, you then want to look at your island as a kind of complete map and think about evenly distributing things. So as I kind of run around my island, you'll see there's different sections, and I've made sure that, in the top corner, there might be, say, a table and chair. Further down the bottom, there might be a stool. Up at the top in between places, I might have thrown like a hay bale or something like that. And this is where you can get pretty clever, because even if you're in a position where you don't necessarily know exactly what you want your island to be theme-wise, what you can do is you can go around and craft loads of cheap items. So an example of some cheap items are log stakes. They take 3 wood. Hay beds take just 20 weeds. Iron chairs take just 3 iron nuggets. Items like that, you could just go and craft a bunch of those and place them all around the island as placeholders, and then you can obviously go and replace them at a later date. But if you then go and evenly distribute them and kind of put them in pockets around your island to ensure that you've spread things out semi-evenly throughout, then you can hit your furniture quota, and of course later on go and replace it with the things you actually care about. Now after that, it's all about putting up the fences. Fences are also an integral part of getting your island rating. Now when it comes to numbers for this, generally speaking, you're looking for around 250, give or take, fences. But again, distribution is important. I kind of built around 300 fences in the Japanese town section, the bottom right-hand corner of my town alone. And even after I built 300, nearly 400 fences, Isabel was still like, hey, you need some more fences. At which point, I then began distributing them around the rest of the island. You can use different themes if you want to. I used rope fences to kind of fence off different areas or like flower beds. I used iron fences to basically close off cliff faces. And I even used some of the imperial fences for the cool different Zen gardens. But again, much like everything else, distribution is key. You can't just place your fences and create a cool walled off village. You need to spread that across your entire island. Now, to give you some other numbers that, may be helpful, I actually went around my island and I counted my trees. I have planted 127 trees. That's a mixture of fruit trees and cedar trees. Not entirely sure whether it also counts coconut trees. If so, there's like an additional 5 coconut trees. And I also planted 42 bamboo trees. That was mainly because it was fitting for the theme of my village. Don't necessarily think you need those, but either way, that's the number of trees I have, and I planted well over 300 flowers. Now, I did go overboard in the flowers, partly because I wanted to sort of fill out different spaces on my island and make it look cool, but again, I could have done like half the amount of flowers, but then evenly distributed them, because again, a lot of the time early on I put them all in one corner, and then later on I very quickly learned that I needed to space them out. And then finally, the very last thing you need to do is make sure there's no trash and very few weeds on your island. You can get away with a handful of weeds, like if you've got like 1 or 2, because obviously, they pop up every single day. Your rating is not always going to drop down straight away, but largely speaking, loose items can't be on the floor. So sticks falling from trees, stones from around the rocks, tools, if you happen to have placed them down. I know I've seen sort of some people placing like inventive ways of creating a tool bench where you leave some materials lying on benches. Unfortunately, if you do that, the game will consider that trash and it will therefore impact your rating. So you need to clean that stuff up, or if you want to create one of those clever workbenches, put it inside your house because it doesn't count what's inside the house. So that, my friends, is pretty much what you need to do for a 5-star village. So to summarize all of that, you need to have the maximum number of villagers. You need to have increased the number of shops and got all the shops on your island with them upgraded. You need to plant a minimum number of flowers, to the point where Isabel is no longer asking for flowers, and ensure they are evenly distributed throughout your island. You need to plant the minimum number of trees, again ensure that they are distributed at different points throughout your island. You then need the minimum required number of fences, which is loosely speaking around 250 spread throughout the island. You then need to plant a minimum amount of furniture. Again, that's distributed between DIY items, Nook Miles items, and items from the Nook Cranny store. And the numbers for those are, loosely speaking, 60 to 70 DIY pieces, around 20 Nook Miles items, and around 60 items from Nook's Cranny. And again, those need to be spread throughout your village. So again, think about the map as a whole. Make sure that you've put things everywhere you possibly can. And then finally, clean up your trash, clean up the weeds, and that should result in a 5-star village. And for those of you guys wondering, paths and terraforming and that kind of general stuff, while it is a cool addition to the game, doesn't appear to have any impact on your island rating. So you don't necessarily need to go around and lay all these custom paths. You don't necessarily need to go and, reshape your island using terraforming. That is kind of a bonus, cool additional thing you can do. But for the 5-star rating specifically, that's what you need. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. Hopefully that video has answered some questions for you. Again, if you guys have any questions, by all means drop them in the comments down below, and be sure to keep it locked because I will be doing a island tour next week. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, you want to see my island as a whole. I'll be doing a tour video next week, so stay tuned for that. But for the time being, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there. If you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with, it's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.